we are going to talk about the big fight that was announced last night between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which is going to be bananas, but there's also an extra bit to it. But I'm not the guy that wants to throw cold water on it. But let's call it a spade exactly what it is, a spade.
With the fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez now officially announced, Daniel Cormier hasn't held back in sharing his thoughts on the matchup. Reacting to the news, Mike Tyson expressed mixed feelings. While he showed some excitement, he admitted he doesn't like the fight due to the weight difference and suggested that Crawford shouldn't be taking on bigger opponents at this weight class just yet.
Think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo.
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know. And he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. He should have fought a guy that was just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky, yeah.
Dora, one of them.
Yeah.
See, it's a missing art.
Sharing his thoughts, Dimitri Bivol noted that Terence Crawford could be a tough opponent for Canelo, highlighting Crawford's champion mentality. He said that once they're in the ring, Crawford won't give Canelo a moment to rest and will make it a challenging fight. Bivol added that the weight difference isn't something to worry about, as it's the skill level that makes this matchup so compelling.
To be announced.
I think Crawford wants this fight a lot. He wants this fight, and I think he will be more active than Canelo's previous opponent, and he has different mentality. He has champion mentality. I think the fight will be much more interesting.
What do you make of the weight in that fight, the weight difference?
I think Crawford will not let Canelo just walking on the ring when he wants, you know, because we could see this fight. Canelo did everything. When he wanna rest, he could rest easy, you know, in this fight. Yeah, of course, when he wants to work, that guy didn't give him work. He just rest. And I think with Crawford, it will be harder to rest.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know. It's a very interesting fight, but I don't know.
Meanwhile, addressing concerns about the weight difference, Conor Benn noted that Terence Crawford is the kind of fighter who can beat anybody. He also praised Canelo, pointing out that he doesn't rely solely on his power, and went on to say that the fight would be a 50-50 matchup.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Canelo. Yeah.
Oh, Canelo. Yeah, I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, you know, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia, it's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Sharing his thoughts on the potential of this fight, Teddy Atlas also weighed in, calling it an intriguing yet highly competitive matchup. He praised Turkey for making the announcement, noting that this is the kind of fight everyone wants to see and one the boxing world truly needs right now.
Listen, I think it's an intriguing fight. I think there's been a lot of intriguing fights happening with Turkey Al-Sheikh in the last year and a half. Fights that have both been, I think, wanted by the fans and needed by the sport. He's been helping the sport in that way, bringing us fights that, again, are intriguing, are competitive, are the fights that we won't get and that we need to get. And this is one that falls into that category. Look, it goes back to the question in the history of the sport, one of the old time-honored questions. Who wins, the real good big man or the real good little man?
On the other hand, Teofimo Lopez expressed concern for Crawford following the announcement of his fight with Canelo. He noted that while Crawford may have the edge in ring IQ and power, the size difference makes him lean toward Canelo. He emphasized that Crawford should be fighting someone in his own weight class.
Crawford, Canelo, who you got? Crawford, Canelo? I still say Canelo.
I got Canelo too.
I still say Canelo. Ring IQ, I believe that Crawford has a bit more.
Yep.
However, it's just the size difference. I think that where Crawford is lacking is that he should test the waters even with somebody at that weight class before facing Canelo. But hey, they say he's a dog. He's got shot in the head and drove to the hospital, so maybe that's just his mentality.
Hey, let's see. Only one way to find out until that day comes.
It's the only way, but I definitely think that it's a great fight overall. You know, black and brown is how you get down.
That's right.
Roy Jones Jr. shared a similar view, expressing concern that Crawford could be in serious trouble against Canelo. He emphasized that the size difference and Crawford naturally being the smaller man will play a major role in the fight. In his opinion, the real challenge lies in Canelo's punching power, something he believes Crawford won't be able to withstand over the course of the bout. Roy added that while Crawford is highly skilled, the physicality and strength Canelo brings to the ring might simply be too much for him to overcome.
What about him and Crawford? I was highly impressed by his performance.
Yeah,
what about him and Crawford?
Were you impressed by?
About the power he showed. You know, he fought the proper fight for the proper opponent. When you fight a guy coming up 2 weight classes, you're supposed to bully him. If he'd fought Floyd Mayweather that way back in the day, we saw a much better fight. But he didn't. But he's learned now, and that shows you that he's improved and he understands boxing more now because he bullied the smaller guy, which is what you're supposed to do. What you say?
What about Crawford, boy?
Crawford still, I think he's a little big for Crawford. I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shot, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see Charlo fight Crawford first, and then see how that goes. If he does good against Charlo with the weight, then let's see him come up and fight Canelo. Yes, but not right now. I want to see Crawford come up with some weight classes and show he can be dominant at 54.
Meanwhile, Amir Khan noted that this matchup shouldn't be viewed solely through the lens of size difference, but rather with more focus on skill, ring IQ, power, and speed. He acknowledged that Crawford is moving up significantly in weight, but believes the fight could go either way based on their skill sets.
Yeah, I mean, you need more than size, you need more than weight, you need more than everything. I mean, I think what you need now is you just need box IQ, the right box IQ, you know what I mean? You need to be smart, and someone like Canelo fighting against Crawford, you need more than power, you need more than speed, you need ring IQ, you need literally everything, because this is the two best pound for pound fighters who are going to be fighting each other, even though Crawford is going to be giving away a lot of weight, but I feel that it could go either way.
Voicing his support, Errol Spence shared his thoughts, noting that Canelo has previously fought opponents from lower weight classes. He highlighted that Crawford also has the capability to face him, dismissing the idea that it's a mismatch.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, you know. So, you know what I'm saying, I'm with it. So, you know, I'll be going for Bud, you know, if he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. Yeah. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that and fought Kovalev.
Meanwhile, Tim Bradley admitted he feels concerned for Terence Crawford stepping in to face Canelo. He pointed out that Canelo is naturally stronger, and while he doesn't doubt Crawford's skill and strength, he described Canelo as a bull in the ring. Bradley advised Crawford to avoid trading punches directly with him.
That's what scares me about the Canelo fight, to be honest with you, because
he ain't gonna back down. He ain't gonna back down.
No,
not.
He's not gonna back, and he's tough, and that's what scares me about that fight, because you don't need to be trading with that bull. Like, I know you're strong, but that dude is naturally strong, and he's been at his weight class for a very long time, so he's acclimated. You're not. You don't need to be trading with this guy at all, regardless of how the fight is going.
Moving on, as the boxing world begins to react, Daniel Cormier also shared his thoughts on how the announcement has sparked a wave of excitement. He called the fight a great spectacle, but noted that there are several other elements that need to be taken into consideration.
You know, guys, there's nothing better, honestly, than a big fight getting announced. And whether it's in the UFC or in boxing, it gets you excited because you know it brings you back to those memories of when you were a kid and you got excited for the big boxing fight, or the new generation, the big mixed martial arts fight. Today, we are going to talk about the big fight that was announced last night between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, which is going to be bananas, but there's also an extra bit to it.
Daniel went on to point out that the size difference is a significant factor, noting that Crawford developed from a much smaller weight class. He also called the fight a true spectacle, comparing it to the old school boxing days and drawing parallels to matchups like Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Clearly, they are not the same size. Terrence Crawford used to be a small guy. Now he's grown into what will be about a 154 pounder, I'd imagine. They'd fight around 154, 160. Luis, I would love if you can give me what weight classes we contested at. TV deal and the TV rights will be announced a little later. But I'm not the guy that wants to throw cold water on it. But let's call it a spade. Exactly what it is, a spade. In boxing, and this is where the UFC differs, and this is why Zuffa Boxing could potentially, if they change the game, move us back into a day where guys were fighting each other in their primes. When Roy Jones and Mike Tyson fought over the hill, but that was still the 10th biggest pay-per-view of all time.
Daniel also described the fight as one of a kind, predicting it will be hugely successful. At the same time, he wondered how this matchup would have played out if it had happened in the early 1990s. He also reflected on both fighters' resumes, noting that they are still in their primes, which sets the stage for a tremendous fight.
4 years old. Now, I'm not saying those guys are done. By no means. They're still the two best boxers in the world. But imagine if we got those guys in their late 20s, right? Or 3 to 4 years ago. It is still going to be a monster. I don't imagine it's going to be anything less than super successful. But should it have happened a couple years ago? Here's where I believe we are going to be saved in this regard. They're just as good as they've always been. Crawford is 41-0, 31 KOs. Going up to 154, going to fight Canelo at 154. He's won world titles at lightweight, super lightweight, welterweight, and super welterweight. So he's been a champion everywhere. But Bud's going to make Canelo fight at 54. I don't know that Canelo's been fighting at 54 for a while. Remember,
reflecting on how impressive the matchup is, Cormier pointed out that both fighters are in their athletic prime, being between the ages of 30 and 35, something he finds particularly appealing about this bout. He even suggested that Dana White might take inspiration from this and start bringing similar high-profile matchups to the UFC.
Sorry, they're going to fight at 168. Yes. Canelo's been fighting up at like 175. Crawford going up from 154 to fight him at 168. They're not over the hill at all. These are phenomenal fighters. They're both still in their prime. Most UFC champions aren't even under 30. I don't know that we have one under 30 male champion right now. So they're in their athletic prime, right? 30 to 35. But a couple years ago, it might have had a little more steam because they didn't have that performance like Canelo had last night. With that being said, Dana White's going to promote this thing.
At the same time, the announcement came shortly after Canelo's fight with William Skull, and Showbiz the Adult noted that it was something that saved the moment. He expressed his surprise at the timing, pointing out that the dull Canelo versus Skull bout was overshadowed and redeemed by the excitement of this new announcement.
Holy shit. That is like, that almost saved it all for me. All right, let me tell you what's that. Have you ever seen or went to a movie that has all the elements, but when you went there, it just did not produce, right? Like it just did. There's a movie that has all these actors and stuff. You're like, yo, this gotta be great, and you go there, and it just comes up short. But then something happens at the very end that just raise the hair on your...
Sharing his excitement, Showbiz pointed out the projected odds for Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford as predicted by fight fans. He went on to say that he's betting his money on Canelo, clearly expressing confidence in Alvarez's dominance over Crawford.
Check out the projected odds that came out. One of the odds projectors say Canelo is opening up as the favorite, -130. Crawford is +100. That's damn near 50-50. Another one says Canelo Alvarez is the favorite, -185. Crawford is the underdog, only +55. Let me tell you something. If those are the odds on my books come day one,
I'm max betting Canelo Alvarez. I could give a damn. If y'all mean to tell me that y'all think it's 50-50, I'ma empty my account on Canelo Alvarez. I don't have to bet KO, none of that shit. If y'all think it's that close, I'ma empty my account. $30,000, I can give a shit. I'm about to come up. I was gonna bet on Crawford thinking he'd be the huge underdog. Y'all got it that narrow?
At the same time, Sean Porter raised concerns for Terence Crawford. While many focus on the weight difference, he expressed worry about whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's power. Despite this, he emphasized that the skill and fighting abilities of both men still make it an intriguing matchup.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So
amid all the reactions, Edgar Berlanga also shared his thoughts. He stated that Canelo's only clear advantage is his size, while in his view, Crawford possesses superior ring IQ, power, and speed. He warned not to sleep on Crawford in this bout.
My good friend, my brother, Terence Crawford, wants to fight Canelo.
Yeah.
Just from your expert opinion, knowing how Canelo fights, what he's like in the ring, I know you haven't been in the ring with Terence, but
Yeah.
what do you think of that fight?
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that favor Canelo is that, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better, you know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't count him.
Meanwhile, Sebastian Fundora shared his view that he sees Canelo winning the fight. He pointed out that Canelo is much more comfortable fighting at 168 pounds compared to Crawford. While he praised Crawford's abilities, he leaned strongly toward Canelo, explaining that the weight division is the key factor influencing his perspective.
I have Canelo. Canelo's more comfortable at 168. He's going to fight again for Undisputed for a second time at 168. So this is nothing uncomfortable to him. Terence Crawford's a great fighter, and of course we're starting to see that he can probably make 168 naturally. But again, it's a different division. 147, 168, 2 different divisions.
Sharing his thoughts, Eddie Hearn stated that moving up in weight will be a challenge for Terence Crawford, but he praised Crawford for his skills, ring IQ, and power, noting that the matchup will still be highly interesting. However, he favored Canelo to get a stoppage, explaining that Canelo's aggression could overwhelm Crawford, who he expects will try to stay on the move throughout the fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fantastic fight, 2 generational greats, 2 pound-for-pound greats. I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. I think even in the Madrimov fight, you saw that physically, I think he's, even at 154, he's not a big 154. He's definitely not a big 160, and he's definitely not even a small 168. So, but he has got unbelievable skill, and he's got a huge boxing IQ, but so has Canelo Alvarez. So I do give him the edge in that fight.
Do we see a stoppage?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, wow.
If Canelo's active in the fight, depends. He's got to get to him early. Yeah. Terence will be moving his feet, and Canelo won't like that. He wants you to come and fight him.
On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson weighed in favor of Terence Crawford and dismissed concerns about the weight class difference. He pointed out that Crawford is used to moving up in weight divisions, and that's something that should be acknowledged.
Sure, don't get my just due. Truthfully, you gotta realize, to be able to go from 126 pounds to 130 to 135 and still just winning titles effortlessly, I think that's amazing in itself. And a lot of fans not really paying attention to that. They don't pay attention to when fighters move up. Usually they don't be the same kind of fighter. A lot of people have talked about like a T.O. or like Devin, no disrespect to them guys, but when Devin moved up to 140, he was good, but the power didn't seem like it was fully there, or he wasn't able to take a punch as much as he was able to take a punch at 135. Or Tio, once he moved up to 140, they like, oh, he don't punch as hard as he punched at 140. But you're moving up in weight, so for me to do it in 3 different weight classes at 27 years old, it just makes it so much better.
At the same time, Crawford has also shared his thoughts, pointing out that he's a bigger guy and that his weight is 168 pounds, despite what people may believe. He acknowledged that Canelo is a tough fighter, but noted that it would be easier for him to fight Canelo due to their similar size.
The bigger guy, you should have been walking me down. You should have been bullying me. Canelo can say, what do you say?
He just doesn't feel like you're a 54-pounder. He believes that you're a real weight class. And
My real weight class is 168.
It's not Canelo trolling.
I just want to know if I'm too small for 168. A lot of people my whole life been doubting me.
Right.
I know I'm smaller than Canelo. I know I'm smaller than these guys.
Yeah, but Canelo's pretty short too. Canelo's
Yeah,
your height too.
we're the same height. We're the same height.
Exactly, for a 68-pounder. But he is a freaking boulder. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a thick kid.
We know that.
Speculating on how the fight will play out, Teddy Atlas suggested that the weight difference will be outweighed by skill. He expressed his belief that Terence Crawford would be able to neutralize Canelo's power in the ring. Atlas also highlighted Crawford's experience, sharpness, and strong amateur background as key factors that strengthen his case in this matchup.
He's craftier, you know, he's experienced too. He's been a champion too. He can wind up where the other guy could be too strong and too powerful. He could be too fast, too slick. And he's also shown that he carries power fairly well, moving up. I know with the Matrimorph fight that a lot of people will say, no, Teddy, he didn't carry his power to the 154-pound class. Now he's going up even another one to 168. You know, how are you going to reconcile that? Again, he wasn't really able to catch Matrimorph, who was much better than people gave credit for, having only 10 fights with his amateur background. They didn't understand how crafty he was. He wasn't able to catch him real clean. But again, it's not going to come down to power. If the smaller man's to win this fight, he's going to negate the power of the bigger man.
Teddy went on to evaluate Canelo's fighting abilities, noting how he adjusts his movement in the ring. However, he emphasized that Crawford should not be underestimated. Based on his experience, Teddy believes Crawford has what it takes to beat Canelo and will be able to handle his punches effectively once they're in the ring.
You know, he uses his guile. He uses this. You know, he keeps the batter off balance and he disarms the batter. He takes the batter away from the batter. You gotta love that. I know a lot of people love to see the ball go over the fence and love to see the home runs, love to see the knockouts. I get it, but I love the science. The real fans, they love the science, the sweet science, where if it's not the science of a pitcher hitting strikes, moving the ball around, like I said, you know, taking the bat out of the hands of the batter, it's the science in our sport of boxing, where a guy can disarm the fighter, take the power away. And that's kind of what Crawford has the ability and the task of doing, where he's going to have to go into this fight and be that pitcher.
Chris Algieri noted that Crawford's fight with Canelo will change everyone's perspective. He asserted that based on the way Canelo fought against William Skull, he is likely to lose to Crawford. Algieri added that all concerns about weight differences will fade once they step into the ring, firmly stating his belief that Crawford will deliver a performance that shifts public opinion.
Fine. I think it's going to change a lot of minds. I think a lot of people are going to change their picks. Because listen, that version of Canelo Alvarez last night, that guy's probably going to lose to Crawford. If he doesn't step up, granted, he was fighting Skull, who, listen, no one was interested in that fight. It was unappealing in every way, and I'm sure it was unappealing to Crawford as well. I'm sorry, to Canelo as well. But if he shows up like that against Crawford, which I don't think he will, that would change my mind for sure. I think it's going to change a lot of people's minds going into September.
While many fans have been hoping for a Canelo versus Benavidez fight, Chris argued that the opportunity for that matchup has long passed. He firmly believes that after Canelo faces Crawford, he won't be in any condition to even consider fighting Benavidez.
At this stage, his window to fight Benavidez is long gone. I don't see that happening. I love what Benavidez is doing. He's not hung up. You know, he doesn't have a Canelo hangover. He's going right back to work. He's looking for the best fights possible. I really respect him. I rate him very highly. Canelo, I don't know how much we really see of him after the Crawford fight.
And there you have it. The boxing world is buzzing as the Canelo versus Crawford super fight is officially on. From legends like Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. to current stars like Shakur Stevenson and Errol Spence, opinions are pouring in, and the hype is real. Whether you're backing the size and power of Canelo or the sharp skill set of Crawford, one thing's for sure. This is a fight fans will be talking about for years. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who you got? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any updates as we count down to one of the biggest matchups in boxing history.